All right, y'all, we back with another Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade video, and today we're actually going to be going over scoring on event bosses, right? So, of course, as you know, we do have a current event right now for Mai and all them, and basically the boss that you have to fight here is a scoring event-based kind of mode where you have to do as much damage as possible to the enemy, right? So we're basically going to be going over, the teams and what kind of boss gimmicks you're going to be doing for this kind of stage, right? So let's get right into it, right? So obviously we're going to go with very hard. It's the one that's going to give you the most amount of points naturally. So we're going to do that, right? So keep in mind when we are fighting this boss, there is a couple gimmicks and all that, and I'll get into it when we actually get right into the fight, right? So this is going to be the team setup, right? Of course, there's obviously other options that you can use instead of the ones that I have placed up here. I'm gonna go over them real quick so that way you can kind of see what you can switch out for and what characters would be good for you if you do not have the selected ones that I showed on screen, right? So, of course, naturally, we'll start off with the first one, right? So the first character we have here is Mai, and as you know, Mai is the newest character that released, and her main purpose and role in this team is to inflict as much debuff as possible to the enemy. So if you do not have Mai, I think another good option to use would be the SR Nanami. And if you don't have him, then I guess you really don't have a lot of options, right? So you probably can put another character like Momo who can buff your team, right? A lot. So Momo is also a good option as well. But realistically, you're kind of looking for a debuffer in this position if possible. Megumin, I really do hope you have him. Having Megumin is like a cheat code because he does so much damage. I feel like in this team specifically for scoring on event bosses, you just can't really sub him out just because the domain expansion is too, I guess you could say, powerful, right? Next up, we have for your third character. Your third character is going to be Yaga. Now, if you have the SSR Yaga, then you're probably going to want to use the SSR Yaga over SR Yaga because he's basically him, but better, while also being able to inflict debuffs on the enemy. So it's just like, yeah, he's just a better version of the SR Yaga, right? A significantly better version. Next up, your fourth slot. So your fourth slot doesn't matter too much. The only reason we have this character in this fourth slot, Itadori, right, is simply due to the fact that we want to stall for ultimate gauge so that way we can nuke the boss and all that, right? If you use another character like like your main carry, what ends up happening is you kill the boss way too fast and you do too much damage, and you doing too much damage causes you to enter the break status, right, where naturally you wanted to have your entire setup to do as much damage output as possible, right? So Itadori is just mainly there to die, right? So just put anybody you have realistically as father, right? We just put Yuji here because he has a little buff for the entire team, which is a bit nice in the beginning, I guess, right? But other than that, it's just like he's just there just to die, right? Just so you can stall. You don't want to kill him too fast. So your main carry won't be in your first lineup, right? And then of course, last but not least, your final character. So now your final character can be a set of options, right? Of course, the best option that you have for reds is going to be Toji because Toji does so much damage. He's going to be the carry of your team. So if you do not have him, then of course you can use Itadori Yuji, this one that I've shown here in the fourth slot, right, over him. And then you could just put any other father you have for your fourth slot. If you do not have Toji or Itadori, then you can just run Yuta. And yeah, that's basically going to be about it, right? And you do have your memories, right? And you're just going to choose the memories that are more functional for you. So of course, increasing damage for your team in that specific turn is going to be the best bet for you, right? So yeah, let's get right into it, and then I'm gonna show you what I can do with this team. I already kind of gave you kind of some of the free-to-play options, right? Of course, SR Yaga is free to play, and then your fourth doesn't matter. Your first can have like SSR Momo or Yuki or Nanami, right? And then you want to have Megumin, and then your carries can be whatever red DPS you have for your fifth. Right, let's get right into it because I've already been talking for quite a bit, and see, you can kind of see what you do with this team, right? So we're finally here on the boss, and there's a couple of things that you have to note on how the boss functions, right? The score attack bosses, they can't be debuffed, right? This is kind of how it is for all the bosses nowadays. You just can't debuff them. So you can only debuff them during the break state or down state, whatever you want to call it, right? So basically, that's what you're trying to aim for, is to maximize the amount of damage you can do in the 3 turns while he's in the break state. So in this team specifically, the setup is going to be you stalling and trying to get all your ultimate skill gauges, right, all the way up. So that way, when you get into the break stage, the break state, you can actually, you know, nuke the boss with as much damage as possible, right? Of course, one thing to note when doing this particular method is, for any particular method, for any score event boss, not even just this one, is you kind of want to try to kill the boss with domain expansion Megumin's special skill. So that way you can have his domain expansion up, right? Because everybody after Megumin's ult won't be able to go because the whole turn will reset, right? So you'll probably use Mai and then Megumin's ult, and it'll kill the boss, and then your other two characters won't even go, right? It'll reset the entire turn. So you want to have it on that because you want to make sure that you have uptime on his domain expansion and everything, so that way you don't have a damage increase lost due to the turn, right? So you want to make sure that you kill the boss with Megumin, right? Because it's going to reset the turn, like I said, and then that resetting the turn means you'll still have that, you know, the buffs and everything. So keep that in mind, right? We'll just do a little bit of play with Mai. Mai's a bit nice, so we'll just get it right into it, right? When you are attacking the boss, you do want to make sure that you're always using Megumin's 1, at least until you do kill the boss inevitably with his ultimate, right? Here it doesn't matter too much. The beginning is just kind of you trying to dwindle down the boss's HP until you get him close to the low HP, like very low, so that way you can try to kill him with Megumin's ult, right? Everything that you're going to be doing is mainly after the break state, right? Like in the break state. Right, so you'll see here that I'm just going to keep repeating everything, right? After I do this. Right, all this is just going to keep repeating. We're just going to keep repeating now. At least until the boss gets really low. And then that's when we're going to start doing more things, right? Right. Do this one more time. Do this. Do this. And we'll do this. Alright. Now here, Itadori should die, and then our main carry should come in. So keep in mind, it is a little bit of RNG because you're trying your best not to kill the boss with anything else but Megumin. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're just going to be attacking the boss and all that. We're going to be saving Mai's ult for the second to last turn of the break. That way you can get an 80% damage increase to the boss when, you know, basically that turn and the next turn when you use Toji's ult, you'll go full ham mode on them, right? So we're just going to keep attacking normally now, right? We're going to attack normally one more time, because even though I do have the skill gauge, the boss does have a lot of HP still, right? So we'll just do this. And we use the second skill, because the second skill does the most damage, right? Ooh, unfortunately I did too much damage, as you can see. Way too much damage. So we're just going to have to run it back, and yeah. We'll be right back in the set, you know? All right, we're back here, and hopefully we're at the desired scenario where we can just, you know, attack with Mai. We're gonna hope really hard that, you know, Mai does not kill him right now. And then we'll be able to get into Megumin's ult, right? So let's just, you know, hope right here that we do this normal damage, and then we use Megumin's ult here to just absolutely obliterate the boss, right? So let's do the ultimate. And then the last two don't matter, right? Because realistically, you are just going to kill the boss with Megumin's ult. Hopefully, right? That's the desired scenario. Alright, nice. We got the desired scenario, right? So we killed the boss with domain expansion Megumin's ult, right? So now we're in his domain expansion, as you can see, right? So you have your ult, right? You're not going to use your ult. What you're going to do here is you're just going to use your Nanami skill, right? Because it gives you, I believe this is crit rate, right? Crit rate for 3 turns. So we're going to use this, and then we're going to use your in-hand skill, right? So that way we can still get the follow-ups and increase the damage taken to the boss. As you can see, now he's able to be debuffed, right? So we're going to do that. We're going to continue to use Megumin's 1, right? Ooh, here we go. We just use Megumin's first skill, because obviously that increases the damage taken to the enemy. Here, what we're going to do is we are going to save the ult, like right before Toji's ult, right? We're going to use it right before Toji's ult. That's the best way to do it, so that way you get the combo effect as well, right? To get a little bit more damage off. So here, we're just going to be saving a lot of these skills, Yaga, and then of course Toji for the final turn. So here we're just going to debuff, right? Because with the debuff, then we'll be able to proc Mai's follow-up attack, which will then, you know, be able to increase the damage taken to the boss once again, right? So we're just going to be using this rather than buffing for your team, right? If you have SSR Yaga, it's so much better because Yaga will be able to buff and do damage to the enemy while debuffing, right? So it will still proc Mai's follow-ups, right? Which would be so much better, right? So this is what we're going to do. And then obviously with Toji, we're going to do as much damage as possible with his skill 2. Right. Then here we use her ult, because here this will give us 100% follow-up attack rate, and then also increasing damage to the enemy, I believe 80%. So that's very nice. And then of course with Megumin, we're just going to be using the same thing as usual. Nothing too crazy. Here we'll activate his skill as well and do it all at once, right? This will also increase like our damages and everything, our output, right? We're still going to be saving everything for the final turn, like I said, right? So we're just going to be attacking again to proc the follow-up, and then again, once again, with Toji doing his second skill, right? So 80% damage increase, or 80% damage increase to the target for 2 turns, right? Alright, now we got Toji's ult, as you can see. And this is going to be the turn that we absolutely nuke the boss, right? Here, we already have the follow-up attack rate increase, so we're just going to attack normally. Once again, Megumin's going to attack normally to increase the damage to the target and all that. And then we're going to be using the memory and Yaga's ult on the enemy. And then we're going to be using the ult and Toji's ult, obviously, on the enemy to absolutely obliterate the boss. So let's see what the damage output is. Right, so as you can see, we got roughly 27 mil, right? Now, of course, you could get higher, right? I believe I scored like 34 mil before or something like that. Now you just kind of just play your turns out. From here on out, it doesn't matter. You just kind of just play it until the boss is dead. Just do as much damage as you can. All that good stuff, right? Of course, we're going to keep debuffing and all that. We're going to keep buffing, and then we're just going to keep attacking with Toji until the boss is dead. Nothing too crazy. You're kind of limited by how much damage you can do because of the HP bar and all that. So obviously, the most amount of damage you can do will be in the break status, where they basically have infinite HP. Right, so you just kind of finish it up. That's basically all you have to do, right? If you have like SSR Yaga instead of the SR Yaga, you'll do significantly more damage than I did here, just because he's able to fulfill the role of, you know, he's able to fulfill the role of debuffing and buffing at the same time, right? So he's very valuable. Yep, and then we're just going to do this, but one more time, and then we will obviously use Toji's ult to do as much damage because the boss basically has nothing left, so this is the end for him. And as you can see, we roughly got about 30 million in score. Of course, this isn't my highest. My highest is like 35 million, 34 million, somewhere around there. And that's basically how you do event bosses, right? Like, it's very nice, very Now, people kind of look at it first glance and they kind of think, "Oh, it's not that complicated." The game looks very simple and just not for me. But there is a little bit of not technique, but like strategy and tactics that you have to implement into trying to perform the most output and damage, right, to score high in events and stuff like that. And that's basically how you do it, right? Like you just got to have an understanding of the characters and know what you're doing, so that way you can really abuse the character and the damage output that you can do, right? And give yourself obviously the most preferred value out of it. So yeah, that's basically the end of the video. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.